Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and the new expansion for Hearthstone, the WitchWood expansion, is now available. It kind of snuck up on me. I imagine it probably started somewhere around noon, and I'm about 6 hours late, but we'll not worry too much about that. So it's time to buy 150 plus card packs of something. While I'm doing that, we're also getting some extra card packs, so it's really going to be a lot more. Also, each of my three accounts, the Americas account, the European account, and the Asian account, are going to get a free legendary, which this was something that was done in a previous expansion, and I didn't really think or hear that they were going to continue that. It's nice. However, so we are now in the Year of the Raven. I wish they would give up the Year of the Mammoth, Year of the Raven thing and instead just follow the actual Zodiac. So I believe we're in the Year of the Dog right now. This also doesn't actually transition, I think, at the same time as Chinese New Year. It seems like they just kind of make this up. It's the Year of the Raven really just means they've decided to put some more of the cards into the wild set, where even as somebody who has been playing Hearthstone on their America's account for a long time, I certainly wasn't in it in beta, and I don't have that complete collection that I think is actually valid to play on Wild. And the way ranked is, even though they've recently changed rank, there's really no way you can play in Standard and Wild. So I would argue almost everybody, including some of the top esports players, should and does play in Standard. And Wild is just this smaller group. For this transition, Whisper of the Old God cards, One Night in Karazhan cards, and Mean Streets and Gadgetzan cards are now all wild, which could drastically change our decks, and we're going to do some deck rebuilds. Also, some classic cards now are changed into wild. The Murloc here is going to certainly be lost for a lot of people, because this was a major card to draw more cards. Ice Block going away to wild is actually kind of nice. It'll help mages lose a little bit more, but it doesn't really cover the main mage meta deck that has been played for many months now, and if anything, some of the new cards look like it's only going to improve that meta deck. There is a strategy that gets played by a lot of people where you have Sorcerer's Apprentices, and I believe it's a legendary card Archmage Archidonus, and those getting enough Sorcerer's Apprentices on the field with Archmage Archidonus lets you get an infinite number of spell cards that do damage to the hero. So in one turn you can potentially take an enemy from their full 30 health down to 0 without your opponent being able to save themselves or have any defense against it. Also going into wild is, I believe, the original version of Molten Giant. So Molten Giant's been on quite a journey where the cost of it, I believe, was raised, and now it's getting reduced. So it was like perhaps a 25 mana cost, and then the cost goes down one less for each hero damage your hero's taken. And now it's just going in the wild and being the original. Because I have probably all of these cards in 200 in duplicate, I might get 800 dust or even a little bit more, because these cards have been changed. Ooh, because you own some of these cards, here's a special gift to celebrate 1800 dust. So on my main account, it's 1800 dust. On my my Asian account, it was 800, and the Asian account is a much newer account to deal with. Also, we get a special quest of Lunera, which I assume this means I'm going to get this hero replacement character by winning 10 games in standard, which is going to be a lot. And they're very much pushing people towards only playing standard. Like, they really don't want you to play wild. Also, we have this quest, which we won't probably do today, but I'll rotate it out while I'm here to 100 gold. So those two will overlap quite nicely. And it's by doing those daily quests that we have 7,125 gold, all free to play. Like right now, nothing goes into dust. I do want to come over here and type in the key phrase new and just go ahead and disenchant any gold cards, because I don't keep gold cards on my main account. I'd much rather have that dust. And I want to go ahead and mark anything that I've already seen. So this is our first WitchWood card. Transform all 1-cost cards in your deck into legendary minions. Surprisingly, this is the most interesting card in the expansion now that I've looked at all the cards. Sad that I can't have to. And the reason why this is most interesting, unless deck building has just been changed because so many decks now are in the wild set, you can see they have shifted now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 classes, 6 if you include basic in standard, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 classes in wild. Maybe 8, maybe I miscounted there. But yeah, for Murloc decks, this is a great 5th turn Murloc deck, because if you haven't really won the game by the 5th turn, you're probably not gonna win. So you play this on the 5th turn, it replaces most of your cards, because most Murlocs are 1-cost cards, into random legendary minions. Then you can try and save your potential loss there. Alright, that's, I guess, as much setup as we need to do. Throughout this, we'll be doing deck rebuilds at the end also. So we will delete lots and lots of these wild decks. My plan is to actually delete all decks, which honestly, it's probably just easier to do this right now than it is to do anything else. That didn't mean to do that. Just get rid of every single deck from the beginning. And today we're going to do deck rebuilds, mostly built around the concept of making new and unique original thought decks. However, I will be using my Hearthstone deck tracker app, which works with hsreplay.net, to tell you exactly what the best decks they think with their statistics are the best decks to play. And in the one example in which I've done that, which was Mid-Range Hunter, I have won a lot more. So I think I'll probably keep 5 random fun decks, 9 random fun decks, and 9 best of the best decks designed around actual victories. Time to purchase cards. Now for my main account, I think we're going to go simply with just 50. I've never found any reason I don't know why you can't exceed 50, honestly, but whatever. I guess it just is probably easy enough to stop it at 50. The next number that they might want to stop it at is 99, so you can't accidentally hit another 0 and buy 10 times as much. It's still possible if you meant to buy 5, I guess you could accidentally hit 0 and buy a lot more. Yeah, but I haven't seen any reason to break it up and buy in groups of 10. There is a increased likelihood that you will get a legendary in the first 10 packs that you purchase ever of any expansion. But that doesn't seem to be affected by how many you buy. And then there is the pity timer that you were guaranteed to get a legendary after 50 packs. So theoretically, I could only get 1 legendary, but I'm thinking I'll probably get 2 or 3, just because there's not that many cards in WitchWood. Now, I still have enough gold for 21 more packs, but there is a lot of thought here to buy, instead of these cards, which I can see, like the ones I'm missing, by typing in the phrase missing. You can see here there's a lot of cards I don't have because the expansion just comes out, up to 24 pages. But there is a lot of classic cards, and since classic cards don't go into wild just by default still to make, so spending card packs to get shadow form is a better value if you really want shadow form than it is to getting a random epic in even the newest expansion. And I would just like to finish out my classic collection on my main account, which will be kind of hard to do unless I end up with a lot more dust, or just get 1 more legendary. Theoretically, any legendaries you got from classic packs after you have all of the other legendaries would go as dust, and if you happen to get any gold legendaries, that would just turn into more dust. So having a complete classic collection, I think, is probably the right move. A lot more than most people really want to admit or live up to. But we do want to see some of the new cards. So on my European and my Asian accounts, which are much newer accounts, we very possibly are just going to open 50 packs of the classics cards, because I'm not super hot on these WitchWood cards. Like, we've already in this instance gotten the 1 card that interested me, and the rest are very much gap filler cards that are not bad. We'll do this relatively fast when we hover over, in case you haven't seen card pack openings before. It'll hint at the rarity, so we know all 4 of these are common and this one is rare. If we see a purple, it will be epic. If we see a yellow golden one, it'll be legendary. Generally speaking, in these expansions, opening 50 card packs gets you close to like 75% complete. It's not really great numbers, and the odds of you getting closer to 100% makes it feel like you need to open about 400 card packs, which would be a lot of money, certainly, if you pre-ordered the 50 card packs for $50 and got the card back, which getting those limited edition card backs are going to slightly change, because Ben Brode, the guy in charge of running Hearthstone, has talked about introducing a way to get some of the card backs that people missed out on. But if you bought that pre-order and got 50 card packs, and then you spent actual money on the other card packs, you're looking at, if you were going to buy 400 card packs, you're looking somewhere around $250 for an expansion. And sure, Hearthstone is free to play, and you might try to make an argument that might be a good deal, but I don't think many people would buy into that. I certainly wouldn't. This is definitely a loot box game. This is definitely, well, these are the loot boxes. Definitely a pay to win game too, because if you throw money at things, you will win. And then there's also just a lot of randomness, so even if you are paying to win to get all the cards, you still may just randomly lose in some instances. Seems like we're running into a rare card in this position every time. I hope this isn't a bug. Last expansion there actually was a bug, and they came back, and so here's our first epic. They came back and gave me some extra card packs or extra dust or something to make up for the fact that I was supposed to have gotten more cards or better cards than what I got. So it's not a terrible thought to do this. First legendary, and we'll have to look, but I believe we were right on the nose for 10 packs. No, we weren't. We were... I'll have to run the numbers. Your other minions have rush. This was a decent looking legendary too. Rush is the new key phrase that allows enemies to attack minions, or your minions to attack enemy minions on the first turn, but not the enemy hero. It is a weaker version of charge. Giving your other minions... No, it was right on the 10 mark. We started at 57 and we're right at 47. So now the timer, the pity timer, has reset. So I probably should buy 3 more if I don't get another legendary at all. As soon as I get another legendary, the calculation has to be redone. And we'll see what happens. Theoretically, I could get a legendary right now. Like, it's not impossible, it's just highly unlikely. And there's really no way, I guess, to manipulate it anyways, because it's not, to my understanding, like a timing based metric, or having it's not like whether other players getting legendaries changes your odds of getting legendaries, since these are all just digital goods. So your only option is just to always continue to purchase cards, or choose not to purchase cards. See, so we'll have to look at the timer again, but I believe that was only 2 packs until we got our next legendary. And mostly I'm trying to get legendaries just to have legendaries and not have a bunch of them missing. Yeah, that was 3 card packs. So now if I don't get another legendary, I could buy 6 more and I would guarantee 1 more. Yeah, but it's mostly just because I already have the legendaries. If I get a duplicate, I can turn it into dust. Although I don't think you actually do get duplicate legendaries until you have all of them. And I'm not 100% sure. Somebody may have to say in the comments about whether after you have all the legendaries of a specific expansion, are you guaranteed gold versions of legendaries at that point? It doesn't seem like you're guaranteed gold versions of common cards after you have all the common cards in an expansion. And we may very well use our dust to make sure we have all the common cards, in case there's just a couple I'm missing. I do want more variety, certainly. You can't build wild and crazy decks if you're missing some cards, and if they are really cheap cards, that works. Now, the thing was, it was probably about 6 months ago, or roughly speaking, about a half a year ago, that Kripparrian turned his extra cards into dust and then tried to buy all golden versions with dust of every card to have a full golden collection. Here's another epic. And even though he had, I don't know, it felt like 40,000 dust available to him, he still could not get a complete golden collection. So even the streamers, people who are spending a lot of money and getting fans to help him get card packs through some kind of weird donation system, like even the most known famous streamers are struggling to maintain a complete collection in Hearthstone, which inherently proves that Hearthstone is too expensive of a game. And Activision Blizzard doesn't care. They just want your money, certainly, but it is really, really expensive. It's also very expensive with your time, with the daily quest. They are trying to address that, and we are going to start seeing easier daily quests, which is nice. We'll be at an odd point. I'll have to make some hard decision about whether I want to open classic packs and potentially get a one legendary or no legendaries for the classic deck, or whether I want to move forward. Right now, I believe it would be 6 packs extra if I don't get another legendary. But if I got a legendary right now, it would be almost all 21. It would be 17. And that's approaching more than I can get. A lot of common cards. A lot of common cards. Now, we're not really looking at them. There's already 10 videos on my channel that looked at every single card and broken up by class. So if you're interested in the Paladin cards, if you're interested in the neutral cards, if you want to watch them all, you can watch the live stream, or you can just watch each individual video. You probably do a little bit better watching each individual video. There's a playlist on my channel, so just for the WitchWood expansion. So if you skip, probably the first one is the live stream. So if you see a 3-hour video, you could skip that and watch that broken up a little bit easier into more digestible sections. We got another epic. The order is common, rare, epic, and legendary, in case people aren't aware of that. The rarity of these cards are really a fictitious element that has no real adherence or change to the game, other than the fact that legendaries can only have 1 copy and everything else can only have 2. So it would have been really easy for them to simply have common cards and legendary cards, and just but they decided to make 2 other orders. I doubt they would ever implement new rules that say you can only have 1 of every epic card, But there might be some kind of crazy tavern brawl where that would play like that. They're also introducing, when you're playing friends, the ability to copy your friend's deck and borrow it. Potentially even playing against your friend playing their own deck. But it has no play in... It doesn't seem like it's going to affect rank play at all. That'll be very good for people who want to help you test out a deck and for showing off decks. So that's a nice idea. But there's no direct card trading, it seems like, in the works. And that's probably a good thing, because if they were to open a Valve style marketplace where I could try and have people trade cards for gold, I think a lot of people would end up getting bad deals in that scenario. So we are now at 23 packs and we haven't gotten a legendary. So whenever I get a legendary now, there won't be enough packs to buy enough to guarantee that I get another legendary. It's still very possible I'll get 2 legendaries just because I have good luck, but I can't guarantee that I'll top it off to 50. So because of the way that's broken down, I figure I'm almost certainly going to open 21 packs of Classic, but we might do it in groups of 10, just in case. We'll need to look at how many cards are actually missing from the new expansion, because it may very possibly be that short of missing several legendary cards, which I believe there was somewhere between 10 and 15 in this expansion. That seems about right. Might even be as high as 20, a little bit higher than that. We may have a very full collection of commons, rares, and epics. Like, we should have all the commons at this rate, because we definitely are getting all of them. My main goal here will be to try and bring in line my European and Asian account, because the funny thing is, 3 rares. I have a secondary account that I don't care about, and we won't be opening card packs on that or anything like that. But I use it to allow this main account to win, so I effectively cheat. I cheat to get daily quests done, and because daily quests take too long. And I don't bat an eye about it, and I don't feel wrong about it for a second. However, you can't do that because I can't do it for the European or Asian accounts, because my secondary account is on my phone and it's locked into an the American servers. Therefore, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when I'm live streaming, I often spend most of my time and most of my effort doing daily quests on the Asian account and European accounts, which have the least amount of cards. So bringing those 2 accounts into a higher position and much as close as possible to my classic account, which has most of the cards, it's not missing anywhere as much, would be very helpful, just to have, so I can build better, more successful decks, and also build consistent decks across all 3 accounts. Because if I can make a classic Murloc deck using some cheap cards across all 3 servers, that allows me to do that and not have to switch gears and rethink which of the potentially 6 different Murloc decks that I've built am I actually playing right now. Am I playing the one that's missing one of the Murlocs, or the one that's missing 2 of the Murloc cards, or the one that's missing 3 of the Murloc cards? We're getting a lot of epics here, but man, we are not having the greatest luck at the end with legendaries. We're getting some golden ones, and for my classic account I'll disenchant those and instead replace them with classics. I actually hate the golden variants of cards. They look nice if you have a full deck of 30 goldens, but they just stand out like a sore thumb when you have 1 golden card or 2 or 3, and then the rest of them are the regular ones. Again, a golden variety in cards, no reason whatsoever other than greed on Activision Blizzard's part. No reason for them to exist. I would love to see them come back and say, we're going to get rid of golden cards, or we're going to turn all cards into golden cards and give the equivalent amount of dust to all the legacy players who've been playing for a really long time and had a bunch of golden cards. That way it would help introduce and motivate new players, which they certainly don't do a good job of. For the previous week, we were getting free card packs. Hey, there's a legendary, so that's good. We got lucky. They were giving away free card packs for doing the daily quests, but then they stopped doing that on Monday, and today is Thursday. So, like, if you were building any hype and trying to get new people to play Hearthstone, you stopped building hype for nearly a full week for no reason. Also, they didn't really tell people what day they were going to stop doing that event, nor did they really tell people what day they were going to have the new expansion. They're just really bad at making it obvious about the dates. I mean, even if they did tell dates on their website, they don't do it in the app. And you have to assume that a significant number of players only get their information about Hearthstone in the app. So I have 5 more cards. I would have to open potentially 45 more to guarantee 1 more legendary. So, like, odds are pretty low I won't get another legendary in those last 4 card packs. But that's alright. Odds are low, but not impossible. Look at that. And maybe your odds just go up as you fill in a collection. So, that's great and all. Now, PC Gamer wrote an article several months ago talking about how you don't really need to all the legendaries, and that certainly is true if you know what decks you're going to build and you don't want the options. You can probably dust a lot of cards and just have the collection that would make the decks you want to play, and that would set you up pretty nicely until the cards that you're playing go to wild or they get nerfed or something. There's still, I guess, an option that we get 1 more legendary, although that is excessively greedy, that in these last 2 card packs I would get 1 more legendary or 2 more legendaries even. I mean, I suppose theoretically you could get all 5 cards being legendary, but it's not likely to happen. So, are we going to go out with a big bang? Probably not, but we've done pretty well for ourselves. So, we've seen a lot of sound the bells. So there's several cards. Also, I believe there is going to be... I thought they were going to add a new hunt the beast mode, like the dungeon runs in Kobolds and Catacombs. But apparently that is not here, so maybe that's going to come out in the next expansion, or maybe later. There's no Tavern Brawl or anything. Okay, so when we look at just the extra cards, let's just get an idea. I guess I'll have to mark these. We have 5 extra of these cards, 5 copies of these cards, and you only need 2. 7 of these, 3 of these, 7 of these, 4 of these, 3 of these, 1 of these. We can go ahead and just disenchant that for another 100 dust, because I much prefer dust. We have 5 of these, 3 of these, 3 of these. You would hope that they'd be a little bit more fair, and just once you have the 2 that you need, they'd either give you a different classic card, and once you have a common card, and once you have all the common cards, they would just give you gold variants only, so that this felt like more of a progressive system instead of a random system. 8 copies of this one, certainly saw that quite a bit. 4 of those, 5 of those, 8 of those, 5 of those, 6 of those, 4 of those, 4 of those, and 3 of those, 4 of those. Here's another golden one we can disenchant for another dust. 5 of those, 4 of those, 6 of those, 5 of those. This isn't atypical. 3, 3, and 5 of these of your experience, and we still will 9 of these. Will we have any that are 10 plus? It's not an atypical experience when buying card packs, and it's kind of what you need to do to get any legendaries. Is you're going to have to spend money to get a lot of things that you don't need, and then trade them for things for dust at a diminishing return, because crafting things with dust is definitely a diminishing return. Like if I was to go craft one of these, it would be 40, but to craft the gold version of this, it's 400. So like 400 dust to make this in gold, disenchant it for 50. So 4 times 9 of those, 3 of those, 6 of those. I guess we managed not to go over 9, unless one of those said 9 plus, and I just didn't see that. So those are the extras. Let's now hit the crafting button and disenchant all those extras. 15 rares for 300 dust, and 112 commons for 560s. And you can see this rarity level also changes how things work quite a bit. Rare cards are worth a lot more dust than common cards. Epic cards are worth a lot more dust than rare cards, and legendary cards are worth a lot more dust than epic cards. So that gets that done. So the next thing we want to do is type in the key phrase missing. But it's important when we search missing that we are, let's see, we are in crafting mode, but we are only filtering to WitchWood, because we don't really want to deal with the missing cards of previous expansions, which there certainly is a lot of that. And so we can see we're getting about 2 out of 5 cards that are missing. A lot of them are epics, which would cost 400 to create, and they're probably not going to get crafted. There's a lot of rares that we only have one copy of, or epics that we only have one copy of. A lot of legendaries that we certainly won't have and won't get. For each one of these legendaries, you roughly estimate 50 more card packs would need to be opened. And I suppose if you did throw that much money at the problem, you would probably have close to a complete collection, in the sense of having just so many overlaps of common cards and rare cards. So a lot missing. We can further refine this down to common cards. So if we type in common after missing and hit enter, you can see that the only ones that are the easy answers to create are this one. So now we have 2 of those with dust. This one. This one. And this one. So then the question to ask is, what common cards am I also still missing? Just this one, which I disenchanted this one, I believe, for more than 40 dust. And so now creating it for 40 dust is better. That effectively means all the common cards in the entire game I now have, which is good. Like, that is the first achievement, and it's quite an achievement in the first place, to trying to have a complete collection. However, now we are at rare cards. And I guess you'd want to start with neutral, but it's going to be 100. So I could only make 38 rare cards in total. There's one here that's missing. So let's try to have some variety. There's one here that's missing. Can we get a full collection? Problem with these searches is they don't actually tell you like how many results are coming up. There's no counter, so I don't know if I have 32 or more cards. But we can make a simple decision to just say, let's fill in the neutral cards. Neutral cards, of course, being playable by any of the 9 hero classes. That makes more sense than anything. And then once we've filled in the neutral cards with 2 copies, then that leaves us with 26. So we'll just have to count 3 here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there is enough dust to get every rare card. Regardless of... we're doing this very simplistically. If I was a newer player, I would certainly not have as much dust, and I wouldn't be able to make as much of a general solution here. But this will just keep us all rather nicely seated. We'll probably get some more card packs for this expansion throughout the time that this expansion is the main expansion. just from tavern brawls, weekly tavern brawls, and daily quest watch and learns. Although a lot of those give you classic card packs too. I doubt we'll get any wild card packs anymore from any reward. So I'll have to make a special effort to gain gold to open wild card packs. So with that, we now have 11 more rare cards I could craft from anything. So then the question would be, what 11 rare cards could I craft? There's a lot of them missing. Now it comes down to deciding which wild. I guess what you'd do is you'd go to standard cards. And let's see if we can fill in these standard cards with rares. Because we really aren't going to have any gold, any dust for yeah, we're really not going to have enough dust for epics or legendaries. So if we looked at missing kobold cards specifically, which is our second oldest expansion, filling in that is good too, because that means these cards will last pretty well. We can just work our way down the line with rares and leave the older ones. Frozen Throne. I've got 5 more cards I can make. Craft that. Craft that. Craft that. I have 1 more I can do, which means there's just 1 in Frozen Throne. And Guru still has a bunch, but I guess we could look in general. So another large step forward to getting a complete collection of rare cards, which is more variety and more to play. Really only 11 pages of missing rares. If we were to specifically just now look at all missing cards, though, that's where it's still going to be a significant amount, 60 pages, I'm thinking, of cards that are missing. Hey, we've got it down to 50. That's not too bad. And if I specifically only look at the WitchWood cards that are missing, it's epic, epic, a copy of an epic, 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 epic. I feel like even though I got a lot of legendaries in this, this is certainly one that I kind of would have wanted to get, and this is definitely the other one I kind of would have wanted to get. Like, we kind of got screwed on epic cards, and instead got a lot of duplicates of common and rare cards, which is only going to also make the building new decks a little bit crazier. If I take away the missing key phrase and we just look at everything that we have, there's still a few cards that we haven't marked off as new, but yeah. So of the 10 cards we got, it seems like we're getting about 8 per hero for each character class card, at least one of the 2. So there's a selection here, certainly something to play with and think about, but not a complete collection. Not as much as I would like. I would much prefer to have opened 400 decks. By the way, you can now gift cards, hint hint, in Hearthstone. You have to do it through the battle.net launcher or the website, but you can gift card decks to your friends, which that certainly would be cool if somebody would do that. Although I'd much prefer people gift me games on Steam, friending me on Steam and doing that, than gifting me card packs. But if you want to see me open card packs, and that's more than acceptable. Where are we left? Do we have anything else to really cover? Just I'm not sure what the next thing I wanted to do is. We have 21 packs, and I'm gonna open classic packs, and we're gonna see and hope that we can get at least one of these last few legendaries in the classic. I want a fully complete classic collection. I don't believe I have any collection that is complete. As for things like Unguru would be the last expansion I'd buy cards for. I'd much prefer to try and get WitchWood cards right now and Kobold's cards. Unguru and Frozen Throne will probably go into Wild eventually too. So we've marked off everything that was new, so there's no indicators. Let's come over here and come over to the shop. Let's see. Kobolds and Catacombs, Unguru, and Frozen Throne all can be purchased. So 21, and this is just extra gold that we had. Do I want to do it in segments of... No. I think just to save time and more, just to be realistic, we'll just do 21 classic card packs. No real reason to open these other card packs right now. But once I have a classic collection, then I would be opening Journey to Unguru card packs instead. And that would be the next thing I would be trying to get a complete collection on. Epics and legendaries are the only thing that matter. So anything else we know will get turned to dust. So this is a full pack of cards that is going to get turned into dust. It'll be about 120 or 150 dust. Where it's maybe as low as 80 dust actually. I might have to... Let's see. Here's an epic. So now the hope is this epic new, or is it a duplicate epic? If it's a duplicate epic, it gets turned into dust, but that would be a lot of dust. So that wouldn't be a bad idea. Ideally, having a complete classic collection means after a while getting any more classic packs just is getting you more dust than you normally would get. And we'll turn that golden into dust too. Come on, give me 2 legendaries. That's probably the most I could ask for is 2 legendaries on 21 packs. Yeah, that's already asking for quite a lot. But you know, if I got 5 new epics too and no legendaries, I'd be okay with that. This feels a lot like maintenance work, though. Opening classic packs now. It feels like you could very easily have to spend 50 to 100 cards to get the last 2 legendaries, and then feel kind of bad about it for all the large numbers of other cards that just are going to get turned into dust. But that's really the only way the system works, which is why it would be kind of nice if there was a card trading mechanic or something. Or honestly, it would just be nice if the dust values were adjusted to be kinder than what they are. Come on, give me at least 1 legendary. It's still very possible that the 3 or 4 epics I've gotten are not new. So, like, we may find out that it's all extra when everything's said and done. Which I guess would then just give me dust to try and make some more rare expansion, rare cards. Another epic. It costs 1600 dust to make 1 legendary, so it's unlikely. It's not really a good way. There's 2 epics. It's not efficient to use dust to make legendaries, and particularly not efficient to use dust to make golden legendaries. Come on, give me 1 legendary. And the problem with the pity timer is if you're opening 21 packs now and I don't open 21 packs, the other potential 29 packs that I would need to activate the pity timer for several months, there's really no way to know if that timer is still counting or not, or if it resets after a day, or if it resets after a week, or if it resets after a month, or if it never resets. One would hope it never reset. Yeah, we're getting a lot of epics. But it's almost as if the card packs are giving you epics because it's choosing to not give you legendaries. And that would really stink if that's the case, but who knows? No evidence has ever proven that to be the situation. This is where that Chinese law that makes you list your odds comes into nice play globally, because it will force it already, I believe, has forced Activision Blizzard to list the odds of getting certain cards, and potentially shaming them into raising the odds for the player. So 21 packs, no legendary. The question is, of the small handful of cards that were there, like 10 of the epics are duplicates, 23 of the rares are duplicates, and 68 of the commons were duplicates. So 10 gives you 1,000 dust, where over double that in rare only gives you 460 dust, and over triple the number of rares only gives you 340 dust. A very much diminishing return. But once you have a complete collection of classic and you got an extra legendary, that would be 1,600 dust, I believe, every single card, or 800 dust every card. Let's disenchant that, and then we can work with what we got new with the key phrase new. And so I got this golden one, which I can disenchant for 100 more dust. This one was one I was actually missing. And these two I can disenchant for dust. So opening 21 packs gave me enough dust to craft one legendary if I want to pick. So which of the neutral legendaries, or I could try and get rid of the epics, and there's still 2 epics that I don't have 2 of. Is there a real reason to do that? So I could take this one, or this one, or this one, or this one. And I think I kind of want this one. So I'm going to take this one just to help complete this collection. And I guess I could make one of these epics. So I'll take Shadow Form. Was that the right decision to do that? Very possibly not. It very, very possibly would have been better to craft a bunch of rares throughout the game. There also might be a Hall of Fame card that I could have done, like this. Captain's Pirate is an epic game one. I could have seen maybe if I wanted to craft some of these missing legendaries under Hall of Fame. Now of course I won't be missing any basic cards. But I guess that was my decision, and now I have to live with it. And we have new card back, and at least right now we have that win 10 games to get this hero class. But I assume at some point will give us a way to use dust to craft these hero replacement, these different hero skins. Okay, so that's my main account. Let's now switch over to the European account. Card pack opening. Also, make sure you log into all of your accounts so that you get 3 extra free card packs of WitchWood. Today is the day to log in, even if you're not going to do anything else. And we get even a 3rd different legendary this time. And now we have to go through all of the song and dance. No way to skip this, it seems. I often wonder about these little animations in these voiceover sections that are added to the cell phone version of the game and take up a lot of space. Now that these new expansions I got 600 dust this time instead of 800. I imagine my European account is the least of the accounts. You have no standard decks, go create one. Interesting. So every single one of my decks that were standard before have now been eliminated. Let's see, what was the daily quest today? 60. I won't replace a 60 daily quest. That's not good. Every single one of these became wild, and that is because my European account simply did not have anywhere as many of the cards as it should. So immediately you see a reason why I want to open 50 classic packs for this account over 50 packs of the new account. But it may not be exactly 50. I guess what we could do is we'll split it in half, starting with classic packs, and then after we get a legendary, the last legendary we get, we'll think about, do we want to put more packs? There's a minimum of 10 packs that we need to open for WitchWood, because that will guarantee you one legendary. You'd be a fool not to open at least 10 packs. But we'll have to decide. We have 66 packs to figure. So let's start with 33 classic packs. That seems right. 33 classic packs. Again, the reason for this is if we look at the classic cards and search by the key phrase missing, there is a ton of cards that are missing, if I can spell missing right. There's a ton of cards that are common and rare cards that are missing, and classic cards generally don't go into wild. Only a handful of them get put into the Hall of Fame. So this Murloc will probably be playable several years from now. Most of these cards will still be playable several years from now. This is what a new account should focus on, is getting as many legendaries and just cards in general. Here. Particularly for the WitchWood expansion, which is a hole filler expansion, or it at least feels that way. So if you've got holes in your classic collection, you should fill those in first. So ideally legendary on the first card pack. Probably not going to happen. You may have noticed that I'm not really talking about the cards. That's mostly just a lack of enthusiasm for the WitchWood expansion. And frankly, it would be a little silly to be enthusiastic about classic cards. You definitely need them. You'll more often than not, I suspect, find better uses for classic cards over some of the expansion cards. But mostly I'm talking about rarity, just trying to fill in gaps and get dust. So even if I opened these 33 card packs and just got all the legendaries and no epics and no commons and no rares, if some kind of weird glitch happened, that would still be a pretty good outcome, even though I wouldn't be able to really build an effective synergistic deck around that collection of cards. It would certainly make it easier to fill in, to decide what kind of packs to open. I don't believe this is the first expansion for my European and Asian accounts. I believe this is the second, maybe third expansion, but they are not doing well. There's a lot of setup to start playing Hearthstone. You have to spend basically a week playing playing Hearthstone before you can even challenge friends, and you have to spend maybe even 2 weeks playing to get every hero class up to 20 to get to play tavern brawls. And if you're not doing those weekly tavern brawls, you're missing out on a card pack. And even doing the tavern brawls and getting the card packs are not staying ahead of the curve. An average player is going to need a very consistent infusion of new cards via either earning daily quests gold and buying card packs, or spending real world money to get the card packs, just to catch up, just to stay in with the crowd. You're definitely not getting ahead of that. You're definitely not rolling in extra cards. I very well may open these 33 card packs and not get any legendaries. But what you will see is I won't have a ridiculous amount of dust either, because I'm filling in the gaps of common and rare classic cards that I don't have. And once all 3 accounts have a nearly complete classic selection of cards, then I can make a good classic deck that plays well with all of them, and then that is a good example to new players. Alright, so we've got our first legendary, and that's where we're going to have to run the calculation. Right. So, if I buy 33 more, I can guarantee a second legendary. If I get less than, if I get another legendary in these 17 packs, even this next pack, it's less than 100% guarantee that I'll get a legendary. It's still probably a better deal, because I don't know how many legendaries I'm going to end up getting here. Oddly, it might very well make sense for new players to take a legendary that they just know they will never play. I mean, I don't know how you could wisely make that decision, but if you really, really hate a card that's a legendary and turn it to dust, and then go and make a lot of missing classic cards, common cards, you can get quite a lot out of that. Like 800 dust is 20 common cards, I believe, because common cards, I believe, are 40 dust to craft, and a legendary would be 800 dust. Like golden epic, certainly. Now, in a case like this, turning this into dust might be the equivalent of just converting it down into a non-golden version, because the amount of dust you get back for dusting a golden variant is exactly equivalent to the amount of dust it would take to create the non-golden variant. So it's not really a great deal to do that, but I so hate looking at golden ones. And on my European account, that is the rule I'm doing. Now on my Asian account, I'm doing it a little bit different. I'm not touching the goldens. I'm just keeping them to see if maybe down the line in a few years, the better strategy would have been to hold on to gold cards. It's nice to have accounts for each of them as a YouTuber, for the European and the Asian accounts and the Americas account, and playing on all three of them. It would be nicer if they just merged my account to a worldwide account, however, and merged all those cards. but it really only works for a YouTuber. Any normal person would not want to do 3 daily quests every day on Hearthstone. It's too much playing, it's too much frustration, and doing those daily quests just gets you gold to let you do more card pack openings, but then the cards again are split between the different servers. So as someone who has an account for each of the 3 regions that they're allowed to, there's a 4th China region that you have to actually be in China to access, and possibly some other regions out there that I'm unaware of. If those 3 regions got merged and the card collections got merged in one fell swoop, I'd probably have a complete collection, if not close to halfway of a full golden card collection. So ideally, I guess I would like to see another legendary at this point, because I feel like I'll probably have to buy classic cards one by one, and it's not a great system to do that going forward until we trigger a legendary and I'm ready to move over to the new expansion. So 5 more card packs, give me 1 legendary, and then 33 card packs can be spent on the new expansion, which keeps it about even and fair. Although it might not be a terrible thought to make sure I've bought 10 card packs from each expansion that's happened at this point, to make sure I've done that. Come on, give me a legendary. No such luck. So before we do anything else, let's go here. And we had 1160 dust to start off with. I can disenchant 118 of those cards that were common for 590, and 13 rares for 260, and 1 epic for 100 dust to give me more dust. And if we now look at, let's see, I guess we look at new classic cards, then we can, let's just make sure we're only looking at classic cards. We've got this, which I'm just going to disenchant the gold. I'm just going to turn it into dust. We've got these, and you notice a lot of these cards only have 1 copy, so there's still reason. I'm going to disenchant this for dust. I'm going to disenchant this for dust. So still a lot of reason to open classic cards on this account. A lot of neutral cards in particular. Disenchanting this will leave you with less than your amount you could have in your deck, so we'll click yes to that. See, that would be a typical experience of not doing that. So this golden version will give me 400 dust. There we go. So then the question is to see how much is still missing in the classic account. And it's quite a lot. Quite a lot of cards. A lot of commons. Well, a lot of rares. I may have made all of the common ones with dust, but it doesn't fully make sense. There's actual strategies here, like this card should exist. I definitely do want this card, so I'm just gonna craft that. This one should exist. So knife juggler, like Light Warden should have 2 copies of it. Now I can't do that with legendaries. I don't have enough dust. But some of these Murloc things, you can't really even make a Murloc deck without having these Murlocs on the field. And see that this is 400 pirates. There's a daily quest to play pirates, and you kind of need that guy. Let's see if there's anything else that's specifically needed. There's certainly Leroy Jenkins and stuff that you would want to. I'm not sure if I'm making a mistake here, because there's very possibly less demand for playing pirates with the new daily quests. So I spent almost all my dust just, let's see if there's any missing commons on classic. Nope. So I had a complete collection on commons, or I misspelled commons. Maybe I did misspell it. C-O-M. No, it's 2 M's. So rares. So the next step would be to try and craft with 100 dust a couple of these cards. And, yep. So like craft that and craft that. Now we haven't even started really on WitchWood. So like I can just go out of crafting mode and say like only one WitchWood card whatsoever. So ideally I want to get 1 legendary in these 7 card packs that they've given me, because I can't exchange those regardless anyways. But that's kind of all I want to do. Like this account right now is so suffering from not having common cards that the 33 remaining packs that I can purchase probably all need to be common cards. And I just kind of have to be left in the dust and forego all the new cards, which means for the European account, and probably the same is true for the Asian account, I don't think I'm gonna really be building crazy new decks or doing deck rebuilds on these accounts, because they would be deck rebuilds based around 10 card packs being opened. Like, here's our legendary, here's another legendary. Wow, got really lucky. Really lucky. Alright, golden legendary. So apparently you can get golden legendaries. Uh, but I'm about to do something incredibly stupid and silly with that, too. Like, it'd be nice to get one more legendary. So let's look at the new cards now, and let's be crazy. So now I have 3 Druid cards from WitchWood, 3 Hunter cards, 4, one of which is a legendary. I don't know how this card was actually going to play. I don't understand what the past means in this instance. Is it going to be a random legendary minion that you've never seen before, or is it a random legendary minion that you've already played? Because that seems like you would be unlikely to have played a legendary minion before you played that. So, replay every card from another class that you've played this game. Here's the deal. There's right now, I believe, nothing to disenchant. No duplicates. No extra dust. Why would there be? We only opened 7 packs. I have a small selection here of those cards. But if I disenchant this golden legendary, I get the most amount of dust you can ever get. Sure, it costs 3,200 dust to create it. And sure, this would be an interesting card to play. But I'm so desperate right now. I need that dust. So, let's do this. Missing. Well, not yet. Not yet. We're not to that point yet. We need to open the remaining 33 packs here of Classic. That's my decision. It could be the wrong decision. Maybe I should open 10 packs of Whispers of the Old Gods. Maybe I should open 10 packs of this and 10 packs of this. I mean, I guess we'll keep it interesting. 10 packs, Whispers of the Old Gods for 1,000. And 10 packs of Gadgetzan for 1,000. And CDs are leaving the shop soon, whereas Unguru is not, but we might as well just like take it. And that leaves us with three packs of this, and I know actually I have already bought 10 packs of Knights of the Frozen Throne, almost certainly. So then 3 packs of classic cards. So that gives us a variety. Because we're guaranteed to get a legendary for the first 10 packs of every expansion. So if for some reason I haven't purchased 10 packs of Whispers of the Old Gods, I'm making sure that I do that now. This works from the assumption that you're going to try to have a complete collection. A lot of new players probably shouldn't work from that assumption. A lot of players should say, forget Whisper of the Old Gods cards. They're all going to be wild cards pretty soon anyways. Let me just buy classic cards and the latest expansion. And that probably is the right move for a new player, particularly since most new players aren't certain that they're going to stick with Hearthstone for the years and years that it will take. I think I've been playing for probably 4 years now in Hearthstone. Still don't have a complete collection. And the counter is on, and that pity counter may not be accurate, so you may very well see me open all 33 of these packs and not get a single legendary at all, which that would certainly suck, but we can hope. Or at the very least, what this could do is fill in some gaps. Yeah, I guess I am just playing the long game here, doing what I think is the right move. But the extremely long game would be to not touch any of the gold, because if you have a golden epic legendary card, or like a golden legendary card, and it gets nerfed, you would get a significant amount of dust. And that is what Cripperian suggests, is to sit on all your cards and wait until they get nerfed to get the full value back. But that is a very, very long play strategy that makes you play with fewer cards, less options, in the short run, which means you won't have as nice of an experience. And if you're not having a nice experience in the short run, you probably won't stick with Hearthstone long enough for long play collection strategies. And of course the joke here is we're not even playing Hearthstone. Like, we're playing loot box the game, we're card pack opening the game. Like, so we're just getting cards. So those 10 did give me a legendary. I probably had already opened 10 Whisper of the Old Gods cards, so which probably means I've opened all of these, and this is a bad move. Now that animation is a little off-putting because it shows you gold every time, and you feel like you're going to get a legendary even though you don't. Again, particularly for mobile people, if these animations actually show like that on the mobile version, that's taking up people's space. And Hearthstone is an incredibly big download. Between, I believe, 800 and 1.6 gigabytes of space of just game data. There you go, Golden Epic. Still crossing my finger for legendaries, but getting a Golden Epic certainly will help me build more dust up too. I'll probably turn that Golden Epic into dust even if I don't have it. I'm definitely a lot more familiar with these older cards. I've seen them before. So I'm heavily gambling that the new cards don't somehow synergize in some way that I don't see. I did look at all the new cards, and this seems like this is one of the least synergistic expansions so far, or in the recent memory at least, with very little happening. It's not like Whisper of the Old Gods, where the only synergy and the only strategy in Whisper of the Old Gods was to pump up Cthulhu and play Cthulhu. Although we may find out that Rush and Echo is very effective, more effective than I think it would be, as new key phrases. there's a couple other strategies that might appear. Maybe, maybe not. And I guess I opened 10 card packs of that expansion too. Now it is possible to buy the older expansions once they leave the shop, but you have to do it either through the Activision Blizzard launcher or through the website. But you can buy it. You, however, can't buy it with regular gold. So, or at least as far as I can tell, you can't buy it with regular gold. Maybe they've changed that or fixed that. So it might cost you real world money to try to get some of these packs once they leave the shop, which again is probably a great argument to do what I'm doing right now. Now the Journey to Unguru cards, again, very interesting synergistic expansion. Not like WitchWood. And inherently, I don't even feel like WitchWood has a good story to it. Like, Journey to Unguru, on the face of it, you immediately know this is a Indiana Jones-esque adventure in a foresty region theme. WitchWood seems like it's just kind of, sort of, maybe a spooky forest theme. That's the best I can even get from it. Most of the cards just seem kind of random. We are getting epics, that's nice. I wonder if the Hearthstone playing audience would revolt against Blizzard having specific days in which you open card packs and you get better rewards. Like, I would be all for that. Like, open card packs today and you're guaranteed a legendary on your first card pack. Something like that. Well, what I'd ideally want is golden packs where you're guaranteed legendaries in all 5 of them. I would pay the equivalent of 25 packs to be guaranteed epics or higher. Hey, there is a legendary here, so maybe I hadn't opened 10 card packs for Journey to Unguru. Unguru, I believe, introduced the quest cards as a concept too. There really isn't a unique concept for WitchWood, or a new concept like that. Not there are some new concepts, they're just not as impactful. Let's cross our fingers and get really greedy and hope for yet another epic. Nope. No real surprise there. Okay. So that leaves us with no more gold and a lot to craft. So in opening these cards, we had 5 duplicate rares and 43 duplicate commons, which we can disenchant for another 315 dust or so. And then we can look at new and start looking at the cards. Is this all cards? Let's just make sure this is all cards. So a lot of cards here we only got 1 of, but that's fine. And we're looking at everything just to keep everything simple here. But now I have more options. Now I can build more decks. I'm going to go ahead and just disenchant this wild golden for another 100 dust. Let's see. Some of these are not getting marked off. There's been some bugs, particularly a bug where things are not getting marked off. This is wild now. Darn it. I like that card. I think a lot of my decks are going to become wild. So I may very well close the program and come back and have hundreds of cards still marked as new. There's some other bugs certainly that have been popping up with more frequency as they expand the cards more. So let's see how this is just jumping around and doing something unexpected every time I disenchant a golden card. Let's see. Disenchant that one for another gold. A bit of gold. Yeah, it's skipping forward to the next tab every time I disenchant a card, when it should just be staying on the same page. A lot of cards still with only one copy. And that's why they're showing up as missing. And this epic will disenchant for another 400. And we'll just mark off the rest of these. And are we done now with the new cards? Yes. So then the question would be missing. And we'll just go ahead with common. Missing common, and then we'll filter to classic. We have no classic, we have no basic. It kind of would make sense to do this. With the dust, I could make the new expansion cards cheaply and make a bunch of these, or I could take the common part out of the calculation and just look at the missing classic cards in total, which of course I could make one legendary. I probably wouldn't want to do that. I think I'm better off making the missing rare cards for classic than I am making common cards for WitchWood. So craft that. We'll just, I suppose, try to have a diversity play here. So we'll craft the ones that we don't even have one of, and then reevaluate and see if we can do better. I guess we're not doing too bad. It's not wearing down my amount by just 100. Again, remember that the classic cards don't just generally get put into the Hall of Fame. Only a few handpicked in this expansion. Only 3 cards went to the Hall of Fame. There's still quite a few that didn't. So I think what we'll have enough to come back and get the neutral cards replaced. Let's see, we have slightly less than enough, so we'll think about cards that I really want to play. That are neutral. I probably don't really care too much about this card. Take a second copy of this one. Take a second copy of this one. Take a second copy of this one, although I don't think I'll play it. Take this. And that is that. So I need 1, 2, 6, 10, 15, 18, 20, 24, 28, and 3,100 dust more just to get a complete collection on my European account as far as all the missing rare cards, let alone the vast swaths of epic cards and legendary cards that are still missing. But we've taken that step forward, and now it is not a laughable joke, at least, when I try to make classic standard decks where I just don't have cards at all. There have been daily quests that I've had to struggle with because I just didn't have Murlocs, I didn't have Pirates, I didn't have the cards at all to do the daily quest. We have a decent collection of cards now. It's not great, it's not complete, but it's a foundation that has taken months to get to as a new account. And we did a lot of that on the back of not buying a lot of other cards. Like not a lot of WitchWood cards. Really. Let's see. Like here's a golden one I could probably disenchant. Maybe I can find a little bit more. Golden all cards. Apparently. Let's see. I don't know if there's a phrase you can search. No. I guess you'd have to come out of crafting mode. But if you come out of crafting mode, then you can't see all golden cards. So I'm looking at all cards. These are probably all uncraftable. Golden's basic cards. But there might be one golden somewhere that I missed. That might give me slightly more dust. To make slightly more cards. Slightly more classic cards. I could definitely understand, I guess that's it, people thinking like this has been sort of wasteful and kind of a silly thing to do, but it's very much a middle step that we had here. Let's go ahead and just craft this. There we go. Definitely a middle step that's going to have me, when I try to create a new deck, let's say I was going to try and make a major deck, I now have 28 of 30 of the classic cards, but I only have like 15 of 30 of the other recipes that it suggests. Before, I would have probably been closer to 20 cards out of the 30 cards necessary. Alright, so that's my European account with the strategy to turn gold cards into dust. Let's move over to the Asian account with the strategy of leaving all gold cards alone, which will make it pretty easy. I mean, all I have to do is decide, A, am I going to buy classic cards or regular cards? I'm probably going to buy classic cards, almost certainly. And B, am I going to turn any of the golden cards into dust? And since we already have that strategy, we know is alright. And because we're on the Asian account, people are messaging me. A lot of random people. I friended a lot of random people on the Asian account because, frankly, there aren't too many English-speaking people on this. So, let's do a little setup and see if there's anything marked as new right now. And we'll wipe that out. And this was our legendary, by the way, that you get the one legendary. And we got this from opening a card pack, I imagine, in the last stream. So, as far as WitchWood, the only WitchWood card we have is this. And my goal, I suppose, will be to... now, I'm really setting myself up for failure here because I now will have none of these decks built for tomorrow when I live stream. Like, no decks at all. So I'm going to have to decide to build some decks. At some point. Go ahead and delete all of these. Shame that there's not a faster way to do this. There we go. So we'll start off kind of easy and just open these. If I get a legendary in the first 7, that's great. That means I don't have to spend any of my gold to get any more of these. And then we'll split it in half again, and by half of how much gold we have for classic cards, and half of it will then be reevaluated. I probably do want to just double check and make sure I have 10 card packs for the at least 3 remaining soon to leave the store expansions. Of course, I may not get so lucky and I may not actually get a legendary in 7, but I will get a legendary in 10, so buying 3 extra packs of WitchWood's not a problem. And if I wanted to be really picky about it, I'd buy 1 card pack of WitchWood, open it, then buy another pack and open it. But there's quite a divide on the screen from when you buy it to when you open it. So you have to go into different menus. There's no direct button. There's a direct button to the shops, sure. But there's no direct button back from the shop to open card packs. So we'll just show the menu flow here. Those 7 didn't work. It immediately tosses me out. I have to hit the shop button. I say give me 1 WitchWood for 100. And how do I open that pack? I have to click out here. I have to come over here. I have to drag it over here. And there's our legendary. Double the attack and health of all minions in your hand. Which might be a cool card, but it's oddly a hunter card, so it doesn't synergize with several of the priest strategies that you might want to play with it. So I have, again, 67 packs. You divide that in half, you got 33 again. Be just to roughly cut it in half. No real surprise that the numbers are the same because they've rigged it so that if you do all the daily quests, you'll get just about the same amount of gold in between each expansion. Let's go. Classic packs. And what we're looking for is the final legendary. If I get a legendary and then I open 30 packs and I don't get another legendary, it makes sense to continue going down that road, because that 50 pack pity timer is very close. But if I open 30 packs from here and get a legendary on the last pack, the pity timer resets and I can't afford to buy 50 more packs. And you have a better offer with potentially opening 10 packs for the other cards. Again, this will be a small step towards having a complete collection of classic cards, making it a lot easier to make reasonable, successful decks in Standard. It certainly isn't. We've done nothing today really that is going to help wild decks, other than the fact that we may have opened a few packs for expansions that will be going to wild eventually. I can't imagine, without putting a lot of money into buying a lot of packs, I can't imagine ever getting the European or Asian account into a state where wild play makes sense. Also, the way the ranked works, particularly since they've changed the way ranked works to make it a little bit more difficult for the low-level ranked players, there's just not a real reason to play wild ranked and have a split between standard decks and wild decks. And see, it's going to be this self-fulfilling prophecy with Activision Blizzard, because they're eventually just going to come out and say, well, less than 5% of all players play wild decks at all. And the reason for that will be obvious, is because they've done everything in their power to make it too difficult to play wild. And then they'll try to just remove wild and remove all the wild cards, which is ridiculous for a digital game to remove cards. But they kind of have to do it, because they're going to run out of ideas, and they're going to try to do what Magic the Gathering does very consistently. From what I hear, they replace a card with different artwork, a different name, but the exact same effects. Because there's really only so much you can add to a game like this before it gets incredibly complicated and unreasonable for a new player to want to play it. Let's see, 33 more would put this at 40. Let's see, yeah, 52. So I think we're getting close to the point. I'll have to think about the numbers again. I think we're getting close to the point. If we get a legendary now, we're probably not going to be able to get another legendary on top of that. And ideally, in the next expansion, I won't be opening 50 packs of classic cards for the European and Asian account, but there's a decent chance I still will be. Until you have close to a 100% collection of classic cards. Classic cards just have that higher value of being potentially playable forever versus being playable for a couple of years. But then the next expansion very well might be very good with some crazy cards in it that motivates me to open on the European and Asian accounts some of the new expansion cards. WitchWood was the exact opposite of that. Very anti-hyped. I'm very anti-hyped against this expansion. I don't really hate it. I'm just kind of blah, whatever. Alright, so now I have 34. If I was to buy 34, that would be 47. So I'm below that metric where I'm now no longer 100% guaranteed that I would get another legendary if I just bought all legendary, all classic cards. It took us too long to get to this legendary and reset that 50 card thing. So 46 packs could be purchased right now, and there would be 4 packs short of that 50 card timer. But I don't think we're going to do that anyways. I think we'll do what we did on the European account. That seemed to work pretty well. So I guess I'm not actually buying 50 packs for the classic cards. And here we can see one of my friends got a legendary. Peer pressure the game is implementing to try and get people to buy more card packs. Good thing I don't have a gambling personality, or perhaps more accurately, good thing I don't have enough money to implement my slightly latent gambling personality. Otherwise I would fall for a lot of these mental manipulations that these loot box games do. Almost certainly there's people out there that have spent hundreds if not thousands of dollars on Hearthstone, although maybe some of those were streamers that get money back. I could imagine Kriperian or Trump or Disguised Toast, any of them I could imagine any of them just spending $50 to do a card pack opening stream and then getting more than $50 in ad revenue because of it, in extra ad revenue. So we can cross our fingers, I guess, and see if we're getting another legendary in the last 5. The odds aren't amazingly high. Every now and then I don't quite drag the packs over as far as they need to be. And I've never figured out what key or whatever action you have to do to make them open in a linear line. I've seen people do screenshots of all the cards being in a line, so there's probably a fast open key, but if anybody knows what it is, let me know in the comments, because like I can't ever find it. It's not mentioned anywhere. And there was a thought of taking a screenshot if I got a really good card pack, and I did get a really good card pack, and I forgot to press the screenshot button. Darn it. Like, I could have probably tweeted that out. This might be a good one to get a screenshot on. There you go. So I'll hit print screen, and we'll tweet that out to Hearthstone and see what they've got to say about that. Alright, so first thing we do is disenchant all those duplicates. We had 1 duplicate epic, 16 duplicate rares for 320. The 1 epic duplicate gives us 100. and 98 duplicate commons for 490. So we disenchant that. It gets us almost up to 2000 dust. And then we can just type in new, I suppose. And we'll just get rid of these golden ones. No, wait, I'm on my Asian account, so the rule is to keep the golden ones. So I'm going to follow that rule. I imagine we'll see a lot of cards that just have one copy. It's possible I could get rid of the cards that don't, like, you know, the game doesn't really help you with that, does it? If I have 2 copies of a golden card and I want to play only golden versions of the card, why doesn't it, like, seriously, why does it not automatically disenchant the classic versions and give me a small bit of dust then? Or in fact, why does it not give me some kind of bonus for having the golden versions? Why make me hold on to the redundant cards like this one, South Hand deck? I have 2 of these. Do I have 2 copies of the regular South Hand deck too? Probably. I guess we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Yeah, we filled it in a little bit. Let's see. If we go to classic cards and start here, like, I have 2 bytes, so why can't I disenchant this for 1 byte? Why does it not help me do that? Let's see, I only have that card. I have 2 of these, Mr. X, so why don't I do that? I have 2 of these, so why don't I do that for 5? I mean, it's not a lot of dust, certainly, but it's something. And so you're punished even more for having golden cards, because then you have to work within a unhelpful system. Let's see, we already have 2 of that. That makes you look through all of your cards. Let's see, and I didn't have Prophet Valen before. So yeah, tiny bits of dust. 5 dust for each one of these that I'm disenchanting. Let's see. Seems kind of ridiculous to do this. Very ridiculous to do this. But whatever, I guess my Asian account is also the only account that even has taken that first step to be a golden collection of cards. A lot of work here. A lot of extra work. Is there a key phrase I'm not aware of? Where I could see the cards that are golden and the non-golden equivalents on screen at the same time? And when I open more card packs, it's going to try and fill in those gaps. Absolutely. And that also means it won't even consider dusting things until you have a complete collection both in gold and not in gold. Let's keep on going. Let's see. That one's good. That one's can be disenchanted. That one can be disenchanted. And those all will show up on missing, so almost certainly I am going to almost certainly I'm going to accidentally craft them again. So this is really, really dumb, knowing myself. I'm just going to go ahead and craft some pirate cards and some Murloc cards because I know I'm going to need them. Let's see. I'm still missing a lot of cards in the classic. I kind of wish I had more. Okay. Well, I guess that leaves... what now? That leaves us to do what we did before, which is grab 10 packs of Nguru. Ooh. Oops. I believe because the Asian account has happened earlier, we've already lost the other cards. Like Nguru is now the only one. Are there any new heroes, by the way, to purchase? Spend $10 on that, waste of money. Yep, for the Asian account, all I can do is get 10 packs for this, which I guess we'll do, and 10 packs for Knights of the Frozen Throne, which I guess we'll do, and then 10 packs for Kobolds and Catacombs, which I guess we'll do, and that leaves us with 4 packs that we can get Classic. But we missed out on a couple of packs that have already left the shop. I don't think I probably did miss out on them, but it is going to be different. At least we're getting a little bit of variety here. I guess the only better card pack opening you could get than a golden legendary would be a golden legendary and another legendary, or 2 golden legendaries, which sure I would take that, but it's not likely to happen. Like, how many of those cards that I just disenchanted am I replacing in these 4 packs of classic cards? Could be a nice collection of them. And you're just going to constantly have to do that. So, if you are going to try to have a golden collection, you're just going to have 4 copies of the card. That's the only real elastic amount of solution, is you're just going to have that overage. It's too much upkeep to, every time you open a card pack, go and disenchant the non-golden version of whatever golden card you might have gotten. Now, if there was some weird reason why I hadn't ever opened 10 Journey to Nguru packs, I'd get a legendary here. But I am getting a legendary here, so maybe I hadn't. And that is a rather nice card to get for a legendary. So now we're just hoping we get really lucky and in 8 card packs get another legendary. Or probably be more realistic to just hope for an epic or two. Epic cards often are as good, if not better, than some random legendaries anyways. So I also need to take that into consideration. Unfortunately, there's really no way to make a good winning deck just out of common cards. Because if there was, I could make common decks with classic cards, and then I'd be pretty well suited to get me at least up to rank 20 or 19 every month in rank play. And then I could try and adjust my gameplay in my decks to get me a little bit higher. Unlikely we'll get a legendary in the last 3 decks. Really. But we can hope. At least we're getting some Murlocs. I'll probably have to make some wild decks. And now that I'm looking at it, I don't know if I can justify playing standard on the European or Asian accounts with the new limitations of so many cards not being playable. I guess in the next card pack expansion, if I'm going to open 10 card packs, I guess I really don't need to, because there we go, we got a legendary from Knights of the Frozen Throne. So maybe we'll get lucky and get another one. Yeah, I guess I'm good to WitchWood now. So next card expansion, there's no reason to buy 10 packs of the old expansions other than just to keep things interesting. So if there was a reason, I probably should pre-purchase them a little bit earlier. That way we don't get confused with the timing of when they decide to remove cards from the shop. And it'll be a while before they remove anything. It'll be probably a year. I don't think they're planning. Somebody can say in the chat if they know differently, but I don't think they're planning on making any more card packs wild for this year. So 365 days or thereabout from now will be the next set or 2 that goes into wild. So we're safe to buy cards for at least a little bit. So as I play and live stream on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and get some more gold, I could buy more cards. Or if I'm playing, if I ever got it back to playing Arena, which, Arena I guess still would work pretty well for this, the European and Asian accounts, because I still don't have as many cards as I would like. But it takes a lot of time to play Arena, and I generally don't succeed very well on them. The daily quests often don't align well to playing Arena either. And since we spent all the gold, spending money on the Arena when you know you won't win back that gold is not a great decision. One more card pack. Can we get one more legendary? We've gotten a decent amount of epics, so I can't complain. But it would be nice if we had gotten 2. And now we move over to this. Man, I was getting used to that epic sound. I was getting like an epic almost every pack. Come on. Come on, legendary, and keep up the epics. I'm always a little confused why people like card pack opening videos, but they seem to be very popular, so I am not going to deny people what they want. But I don't know what people really want me to say, if they want me to say anything. This is an interesting legendary. Your opponent takes 2 turns, then you take 2 turns. And I assume it doesn't continue after those 4 turns, but I've never seen anybody actually play this card. Like, I don't know if people want me to be critical of the cards or focus on the cards or just open the cards and be done. So I particularly don't watch other people do card pack openings, but people like it. Look at that, 2 epics. That's pretty nice. Can we get one more legendary in the last 3? Probably not. I haven't been getting a lot of golden cards, but I've been getting a lot of epics, which is weird. But I guess that's what I prefer to get. One more card pack. No legendary. Oh well. Well, I certainly can't be upset with the cards I've gotten. Like, I got a decent amount. We have 1 extra epic and 14 extra rares and 76 extra commons, which equals 760 more dust, which then I suppose we need to just click new and click over here and then click all cards just to make sure. So 1 of those, each of those. I suppose I could do this right now. But every time I disenchant something, the numbers move around, the pages move around because of a glitch. Let's see. I could disenchant this for 400. No real reason to. At least not an immediately obvious reason. I mostly didn't get gold cards. So we're getting a smattering of new cards. Which, particularly in the neutral field, will help me create better decks. What's this one? Hungry, eaten. Alright. So, if we type in missing and then common, we've definitely got a lot of missing common cards. If we go to classic, though there's only 1, so we'll craft that. And I guess you'd want to go for WitchWood here and go for a diversity spread of, shouldn't start with this, I should start with the neutral ones. Expand out as many of these as we can, since we only opened a very small amount of packs for WitchWood. getting some varied new cards. There's no reward or anything for getting a certain number of cards in your collection, which kind of sucks. Like, it feels like you should be rewarded for having 100 different kinds of cards, 1,000 different kinds of cards in your collection. Here's some extra dust because you did this thing, because you like diverse decks and not just very limited collections of the cards. That would particularly help reward players that don't have good cards but ended up with a bunch of bad cards. Let's see. And let's I guess then what I want to do is go to Kobolds and see if there's anything we're missing here with Kobolds. But I don't think I can afford to make 2. So I can only have like 1 of every card. And it doesn't feel like by crafting 1 of a card you unlock it or open the doorway, increasing the odds of you getting the second of that card. Next card pack you open, it seems like it's just still very much random. Let's keep on playing. A lot of Unguru cards that I might still play. More variety. That's what we're searching for. Is more variety. Like, I may get a daily quest to play elementals, so having 1 more elemental makes sense. Or 2 more elementals. Alright, and that's Unguru. And then that leaves you with classic, and basic cards wouldn't be missing. I guess you have to assume that you're giving up on all the wild cards and you're not going to try and craft any more of those. So that just leaves me like 25 dust to, let's say, make a second copy of this. Nope, can't even make a second copy. Wow. Last bit of dust was just to do that. Alright. So let's take a look. We're on WitchWood. We don't have a great collection, but we have a pretty good collection considering we only opened 7 card packs. We ended up with 2 legendaries, and it looks about like 3 cards per class. Elsewise, 3 or 4. Which is helpful in a different way that I hadn't even considered until this point. But there are daily quests to play like all Warlock cards. So if we continue in the new daily quests to have quests like that, now that I have more Warlock cards, I have more of an option to fill up 30 decks like that. Generally speaking, though, if I do have a daily quest to play all Warlock cards, I can do it in Wild pretty easily. There's almost certainly more than 30 Druid cards that I have. Maybe even more. Maybe 30 Druid cards alone in Classic. Our Classic collection took another step. Like, it took a big step to being a full and complete Classic collection, and that's really all we need it to be. Well, that's how I want it to be. So now there's a very good chance I can make a classic collection only deck, and it will be copy and pasteable between my America's account that has a lot of cards and my European account and Asian accounts that don't have a lot of cards. Also, things like pirates and murlocs should be mostly satisfied from the classic collection. Let's just cross our fingers that they don't decide to put a ton of cards from classic into the Hall of Fame. So that's gonna be it for this card pack opening video. I'm going to read the comments and respond to them if you're watching live, but if you're watching this pre-recorded, that's it. Feel free to leave your own comments down below if you're watching it pre-recorded or live, either way. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos, because all of that helps me out with YouTube. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. Links to Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, Google+, Steam, and Battle.net. If you want to support me even more than doing all of that, friend me on Steam and gift me either a game or a gift card. If you gift me a game, almost 100% chance I will cover it early and quickly. Quicker than most games I cover. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.